Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Yotewo podcast. And today we have our new dear guest, Vasily Alekseenko, the founder of RareFounders. So, Vasily, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the invite.
To have you here. Thanks so much. I think let's start. We'll have different types of questions today, some more formal ones, some fun ones, but obviously all about startups, entrepreneurship. So I think that before starting, I researched your LinkedIn thoroughly, and maybe if you can start with a bit of how you got into this field, because I saw from 2005 and 2018 your career was very much around corporate stuff, right? So then I saw boom, and you have app that deals with retreats, right? And then after that, wellness marketplace, right? So maybe before RareFounders, tell me how you switched from one field to another.
Yeah, it was a bit of a journey, and I can't say that I switched between fields, to be honest, because most of my startup experiments and entrepreneurship experiments, they did happen while I had my full-time job, and the last company I worked for was in the corporate space in the financial sector. And I don't know, I think I always have been entrepreneurial. I always had a bunch of ideas. I used to have a notepad. I used to call it the graveyard of my ideas. And I would just keep writing them down. I tested a few, and I think most of them died pretty much on me overthinking them. And that's why majority of these ideas didn't really go anywhere. And I think I eventually gave up, and then I was trying to build career in the corporate wellness space. Corporate space. Not wellness yet. Wellness happened after. So in the corporate space, but very quickly realized that you need to be a bloody snake to grow in this business. And I don't know, for me, just kind of it just wasn't my thing. I always was very outspoken. I always tried to protect the rights of my clients and what was fair and what was right. And this kind of individuals don't really grow in the corporate environment. And that's why, I tried, really gave it all I could. And once I realized that the only people who got promoted are people who just do whatever and who know how to play politics. That's why I was you know what? No. I was about to swear, but no, definitely not going to happen to me. And and that's, I think, when I kind of started experimenting, and I was always into anything health related.
Cool.
Hence my trip to ayahuasca.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
And I, through Instagram, met with someone who became my very close friend after. She was an influencer, and she was everything kind of health related.
Cool.
And we were kind of just talking, and I just realized that she has all this knowledge, and I was always good with putting things together. And we decided to organize a yoga retreat specifically for women. So I was the only man there, just putting things together and organizing everything. And she was the person with actual knowledge and experience to teach people. So we did this. Initially, I got so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so big. I'll just get involved with people like her. I can put things together, and then we're just going to make it global. All was fun until the retreat itself. And that's when we realized that it's just so much effort goes into putting this kind of stuff together.
Was it in London or
it was in Barcelona? It was in Barcelona. And because obviously we haven't done this before, all of the stuff with marketing, website, sales, getting people in. She was cooking there non-stop, which was kind of her thing, kind of on the nutrition side. I was dealing with stuff like plumbing. Just because you kind of it's your thing, you need to deal with everything that happens. And for everyone else, it was probably an amazing experience. And I know it was an amazing experience. And for us, it was just non-stop work. And both of us, when we came back after this trip, and we was definitely not doing this again. So that's when I realized, so maybe this business is not going to work out. And the next business was because while I was trying to sell our retreat, I realized how difficult it is to sell it. And back then, all the marketplaces for retreats, they were just very old and crappy.
Yeah.
And I saw an opportunity and I saw a completely different vision of how this can be executed. So I came up with an idea of wellness retreat. Idea was to have some kind of like Google map with like a bunch of dots representing retreats that you can like filter and see wherever they are and kind of like book them. And
how did this go?
It actually like, I think, so I built an MVP. We had maybe like 300, 400, 500 retreats globally.
Okay, cool.
Potentially close to 1,000. Just remember it was ages ago.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to ask for sabbatical leave at work. Mm-hmm. And I got it approved. So it was all amazing.
Cool.
And then COVID happened. And obviously like COVID killed everything overnight. Luckily for me, I did not start my sabbatical leave. So I stayed with the company for for another year.
Okay.
But then I kind of like pivoted this idea into this corporate wellness marketplace. And the idea was to have this marketplace where a bunch of wellness professionals, yoga instructors, like people who specialize in like meditation, boxing, massage, whatever, they create a live content for like people in corporate environment, for employees.
Yeah.
But the main differentiator of this platform was supposed to be that the content there would be driven by demand. An idea was that we ask people what they actually want and when they need it.
Yeah.
Let's say, I don't know, like we're talking to the company and we know that they have like 10 females who are pregnant and interested in doing yoga for for pregnant women and for beginners.
Okay.
And they also wanted to do in Spanish because they're learning Spanish for whatever reason, or maybe they speak Spanish.
Okay.
And they also can't sleep and they wake up at 5 a.m. every single morning. So idea was that we collecting all of this data, giving this data to instructors, and instructors based on their skill and availability, they create the content. And that's why when they already create the content for like people who actually want it, rather than like most of the platforms work where they create the content and just try to sell it.
Yeah. That's me.
But it didn't work out. But that's kind of like how I came to the whole RareFounders and how I am on this journey now.
Yeah, that's very. You actually got me to the next question. So the next one was So now the London's largest demo day is like literally one association with RareFounders. So tell me how you built it and how you keep because a lot of people know it for keeping this raw spirit. The real spirit of the project. Can you tell me about how you started and how you keeping it that way?
So started this all absolutely randomly. So when I was at the moment when I was kind of like ready to fundraise for my previous business, I very quickly realized that I didn't have any investor network. When I left my previous company, back then I was selling services to private equity, venture capital funds, family offices.
Okay.
And I thought I was sorted with contacts, but very quickly realized that they were wrong contacts to have because most of them just were not right for me based on the sector or the stage. So that's why, even though I knew people, they kind of like were absolutely useless for me.
Yeah.
So started going to quite a few events in London, got super disappointed with the quality. And back then, I think now we have a little bit more diversity these days.
Yeah.
But back then there were just two concepts. One was kind of like pub style drinking, when people just randomly walk and talk.
Yeah.
Or it was panel discussions where there is a little bit of network and then there is a panel and everyone just kind of like disappears and that's kind of like end of the story.
Yeah.
So staying in the corporate environment for more than 10 years, I just got sick of anything that kind of like resembles corporate and seating and like very formal. And that's why I came up one day after my bad experience with one event organizer who didn't show up to the event. I remember I was in this place in the center by Temple, in the pub, and the pub was packed with people. But I kept hearing the whole evening people just complaining about how badly it was organized.
Okay.
But I was like, bloody hell, okay, so it was badly organized, but all of you are still here. And that's why I was like, you know what, I can do better. I literally went to the same pub the next day and spoke to manager, told her that I wanted to run my own event. She assumed I do this for a living, so she didn't question anything. She only asked me when. I was like making stuff on the go was like 4 weeks. It was like, okay, how many people? It was like 250. It was like, sure, done. And I also didn't pay a penny for it.
I mean, 250 is a good number for them.
And but you see, like now it's a bit different because now at least I have some following on like social media, whatever. Back then, it was
quite a bet.
In the beginning. And that's why I remember I left it. I was like, what the hell? I just promised someone to bring 250 people from where? I don't even know that many people, let alone to bring them into the place. Somehow, it's still a mystery how it's happened. Somehow in 4 weeks I had 500 people signing up and 250 people actually came to this event.
Wow.
And that's how it all started. So my main idea behind this was because I wanted to meet investors. And I thought if I'm the organizer,
you can easily meet all of them.
See the details. Exactly. And I can also ask them on the register about sector and stage they're interested in, and I can talk to people who are actually relevant to me.
That's cool.
And that's the only reason why I started this in the first place.
That's
and
cool.
Then it's all just took off from like first event. Then I did the second one. Then I came up with the concept of having this open mic pitching, which now quite a few people copied. I had one very, very bad copycat. And hate them with passion. But I think they died.
Yeah. Okay. Good news.
To be honest, I blocked them everywhere, so I don't see them. But in my mind, I did. Anyway, so I created this concept again because I wanted to create a stage in London for founders where they can just practice the pitching skills. Because I now know that at none of these events you actually get any investments. And
of course,
back then, the only option was either to go through an accelerator, which for me wasn't I never want to do it. Or the second option was to pay some organizers like 300, 500 pounds for a couple of minutes on stage, where you're promised there are like a bunch of investors, but then you talk to everyone, there is like no investors in there. And they're just all losers who just believe in this, that they can pay and just get money in return. Obviously, I was one of these losers. That's why I ended up there. But I just wanted to create this stage, and that's kind of like what I did with these events, where now we still, every single time when founders come to events, I, in the beginning, tell them that if they think that they will get investments out of any of these events, it's just delusional, and they should just see this as a practice. Even though now we have quite a few founders who randomly managed to get some money through people in the audience just because, again, they just met someone. So and then the demo day. So anyway, so just to answer your question, it was a very long answer. The only reason why we get this feel of scrappy, whatever, because I had no money. I had no money, and I just had to become very creative with creating all of the stuff. But then I also realized that this is kind of this is what we do. And even now, we have way more access to kind of resources and help and whatever. We're still trying to kind of recreate this feeling with our neon lights and making things simple but kind of effective. And the same kind of was with with the demo day that we created.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and I 100% agree. It's it's like with pitch decks. When you email them, you don't expect them to give you the money. You need to capture the attention. Book the call. So I think the same thing with the events. So it's pretty cool. Let's get into details. So, what would be one founder story from your events that, you were impressed by that still gives you the goosebumps? Is there such a, pitch that you had that you really keep in your memory?
I mean, there were so many of the stories, to be completely honest. So it's over time, it's just kind of disappears simply because it's kind of like a blessing and a curse in terms of what we do. I have so many people in our community. I think since we started, we had about 15 to 20,000 companies or individuals, going through our events.
That's cool.
And but because we're constantly dealing with big numbers, I don't know that many people kind of in person. I do know quite a few, but it's just at our events, every single person wants to talk to me because they have something that they want to get out of me, whether it's kind of connections or introductions or advice or whatever. And even though I wish I could talk to everyone. I just physically can't, especially not at my events.
Yeah.
Kind of like I'm a control freak. I need to make sure that things are working. And like you came to my events before, like I'm there, I'm taking pictures, I'm on stage, I'm
people,
like, welcoming people, giving them, like name tags.
Yeah. I know. You're
Thank God the toilets don't break, so I don't have to fix the toilets. But this is why, and again, kind of like I don't necessarily want to change this. I don't want to just to stand there and let everyone else to do this work. Like I have now people who are kind of like helping me. But I think the whole reason why it works because I'm kind of like part of it.
Yeah.
So because of this, again, a bunch of stories, but the one that comes to mind is actually a very, very recent story.
Yeah.
And the reason why it comes to mind, so this guy, this founder, he's just bloody genius.
Yeah.
And he pitched at our demo day in April this year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't get anything out of this experience, at least like not directly.
Yeah.
And not yet. The power of yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but then he was so he went into an accelerator in Malta.
Okay.
And it was this kind of like pitching day, and I was invited there as a speaker a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And so again, like Malta, didn't expect to know anyone. I saw his name on the list, so I was like, at least kind of like I know one person.
Yeah.
And then I realized there were quite a few people from London, which was like interesting.
Yeah.
Good. Like some people knew me, which was also kind of like nice.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to feel like I'm a fraud, like have been invited there. And but then I would like talk to people, and there was like, they're all connected to Andy.
Yeah.
So by the way, Andy, the company is called Everybody Counts. So it's an app for schools how to learn mathematics, like very, very quickly. And
I remember that.
So, and then again, like every person I would speak to, there's like either Andy's advisor or investor or someone who is working for him.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people were there connected to Andy, but I'm not joking. Like every second person I would speak to, they're somehow connected to him. They either were invited by him. It's like at some point I even thought like, was this event created by Andy? Is he, like the brain behind, like all of this, like accelerator, whatever.
Yeah.
But then I realized how genius it was. I don't know if he did this intentionally or unintentionally, but he brought all of his biggest supporters to this event, and they kept talking to obviously like people networking, and obviously they were talking about how they ended up at this event.
Yeah.
And they would end up talking about him and his company and how they liked him, they support him. So eventually people that interacted with other people started questioning us like, who the hell this guy Andy and why is everyone talking about him? So as a result of this, he ended up raising 250,000 either pounds or euros or dollars. I think euros and there. But it's literally happened within like 2 days.
That's pretty cool.
And I was like, this is just so genius.
Yeah.
I mean, like on top of this, he's actually like a very, very good guy, and kind of like he achieved quite a bit with his business, and people happy to help him because he's constantly kind of like helping everyone. He's like super connector, trying to connect people all the time. And but I thought it was just bloody genius, because this is when you hear things like FOMO, like everyone knows the terms, where everyone knows kind of like like what it is, but no one knows how to actually create this, because it's super, super difficult. And this is exactly an example on how you can create FOMO when investors would start kind of like I was like, but this is actually not the end of the story. I came back obviously like impressed by Andy in general, and obviously want to support him because he's part of our community. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video. So I created a short video for LinkedIn, and I told Andy, and I was like, let's see if I don't know, like you never know, we can maybe gonna get you something like through my LinkedIn, because I helped through my LinkedIn post to get investment to another founder randomly. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
And she raised 25K. I think it was 25K.
That's cool.
And so I was like, let's do the same. So I created a video about my experience with Malta, whatever, told about his story, and in the end dropped it kind of like that Andy is still fundraising, that he has like 250 more to close. I think he's raising 1.2 million round.
Okay.
And I was like, if there are like any investors, obviously like get in touch with him. Andy sent me a message yesterday saying that he was contacted by my former boss who lives in Canada.
Really?
Who saw the video. And they had a call, and the guy was like, "I want to invest in you."
Was it the boss from the corporate world?
No. It's like before the corporate.
That's cool.
But I was like, "This is just so bloody random."
That's so cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. To be honest, my next question was about like how to create FOMO without being kind of too fake, too performative, and that's actually the perfect example.
Like, otherwise, it's like like with the whole FOMO stuff. Like it is difficult. Is difficult. We tried quite a few things with our event, with the demo day, with like wait lists and approvals and promotions, and but sometimes like simple things just work. Like to give you an example, when we did the first demo day, when I came up with the whole idea of London's largest demo day, when we were trying to pitch this to get sponsors, like no one took me seriously. Like most of the sponsors I spoke to, they were like, we cannot see how 100 companies can pitch in one day. It's just impossible. It's too much. No one even wanted to understand the concept that we would have two separate pitching stages and every founder would have just 1 minute. So and then every hour a specific sector. So it makes it kind of like you don't have to sit through all 100. You just go whatever is relevant for you.
Yeah.
But before it all started, we needed to get investor partners on board to A, help us to promote the event, B, to give it some legitimacy, and C, to help us with actually reviewing the applicants.
Yeah.
And obviously it was very like, again, even though I already hosted some events back then, it's not like I was known within the founder community, not investor community. So I obviously like started reaching out to VCs. And it only took one company to say yes. And I remember the company was called Humber Perks.
Okay.
And the rest just started saying yes because the first one said yes. And I just remember I was like watching this. I was like sending messages, and every single time I would bring kind of like more and more names, like into the email. And then the more names, the more people would say yes.
They said
I think we eventually signed up about like 50, 60 VCs literally within like a couple of weeks.
That's cool.
And this is kind of like people who ignore me before that.
They started responding.
Exactly. And I was like, it's kind of genius / stupid at the same time. Because when I understand this is like, it's literally just people, it's like fear of missing out, where it's all just, it's like virtually crazy, not even real.
Yeah, of course. Same as with like the actual deals. The same. If the round is almost closed, everyone wants to kind of join.
Exactly.
So. That's pretty cool. No, it's interesting. So my next question is like a bit related to what we do at Yotewo as well. So you had over years, you have thousands of founders in the network. Do you always communicate with them? Do you see them having this problem that we are trying to solve in terms of like hiring the technical guys for the projects? Do you think it's something that they struggle with? Generally?
I think majority of the founders definitely struggle with technical skills.
Yeah.
And I know this because we hosted a couple of events to match co-founders.
Okay.
And there is always big demand for technical people, which is not like, again, go to Y Combinator co-founder matching. And when you see the people there, majority of the people
ratio
would be kind of like, I know, like marketing skills, sales skills, whatever, anything but not technical.
Yeah.
So this is why I think like just by default, there is definitely a thing. And also when it comes to the whole business, on the rare occasion I've seen founders who are technical, who are also good with business in terms of, because like in order for you to be good on like with good technical skills, you need to have a certain personality. This personality sadly is not the personality that can sell the business. So this is why it's I think there are quite a few founders who not technical, who have these ideas, who have personality to kind of like, like take it forward.
Yeah.
And that's why they by default lacking the skills, and they eventually need to either hire an agency.
Yeah.
A lot of founders who hired agencies, just like it's hit and miss, mostly miss. It's like very rarely hit. Waste a lot of money, work with people who potentially can be qualified, but since you're not technical, they just really lie to you in terms of like time and how much it costs, whatever. True. Or you might end up with like technical co-founder if you are lucky. Most of the people not. And so it's kind of like you eventually do need to solve this problem, and obviously like one of the ways is to hire someone who's technical.
100% agreed. That's cool. I didn't know you guys did co-founder matching events. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
We're planning to do it again.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Now the next one I have is on the investment side. So you also did close to 10 angel investments, if I'm correct. And also with some big names on there, like really big names on there. Can you tell a bit about this experience, and what did you look for in when writing a check?
So big names, big names. I mean, probably shouldn't be saying this for public. When it comes to like social media, I mean, like sadly, we live in the world in the times where we kind of like all need to play these games.
Yeah, 100%.
We need to play these games to appear something more than we are. Because again, it's kind of like everyone is doing this. If you're not doing this, you just kind of like falling behind.
That's true.
So specifically with these companies that you call, like big names like OpenAI, Perplexity, I think like Ward, I think like have like a couple of others. Yeah. I invested in them through an angel syndicate.
Yeah, that's cool.
Founders Capital.
Yeah.
And but the reason why I invested in them initially, like the first one was actually OpenAI.
Cool.
I didn't invest because I saw an opportunity in OpenAI. I only invested because I knew it would look good on my profile.
Yeah.
And this totally is kind of like, again, it's stupid, but I don't think many people would admit this, but I do, because I hope people will learn from this, because like it's actually like it works.
Yeah.
The number of messages I get still from people, like I was contacted by someone from like Sifted to give like the writing blog, so kind of like want my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, otherwise it doesn't matter what you know, it doesn't matter how much you know, you still need to shout in order to be noticed. If you're quietly sitting with your amazing skills and knowledge, no one is gonna know about you. And for some people it might be fine. I kind of like want to be noticed. I want to be known.
Yeah, of course.
So that's why. So in terms of like to answer your question with some of the other startups I invested. So I invested in 2 startups who pitched our demo day back in October last year.
Nice.
And like small tickets, like nothing serious, but I just like both of them. And cool. I was like, you know what? I don't have money to invest, but maybe I can squeeze something out.
Yeah.
And
what did grab your attention in these 2 specific cases?
Founders, and I think this is kind of like for most of the, I think like all of the investments I have in the kind of like not these big names, they're all invested in people rather than in companies.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think for some of them, I might even struggle to tell you exactly like what they do. But all of them, they achieved something already in their business. They managed to prove that they had skills and knowledge to create, to change user behavior, to create something that people actually wanted. And it was a huge amount of resilience from like all of them. Like one of the founders, he is my very good friend, Michael, and he was fundraising for his company for like probably like 12 to 18 months. And it was like about like 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
But he's like very well connected. He knows a lot of people, and he just worked non-stop. And eventually he was just about to close his round.
Yeah.
And a couple of his big investors decided to pull out. And it was like, I don't know, like close to like 50% of his round. And and it was like the market was tough. So, but they kind of like use the market against him, saying that, oh, kind of like you're raising for too long, there's probably something wrong with it. And I just kind of like, I've seen him going through his journey, and he obviously like, he didn't give up. He managed to close the round with like a small amount of money.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know what, after having this painful experience, he actually focused on turning this business into revenue generating business like ASAP. And he's doing pretty well.
That's good.
And that's why kind of like, and now I know that he's not interested in fundraising anytime soon because it's bloody painful.
Yeah.
So this is why, I mean, like, you know yourself, like being resilient is probably one thing that will help you, because otherwise,
100%.
like, you can't predict anything that you're working on right now. It's not going to fail tomorrow, whether it's because
100%.
of you or the business or the market or anything else. And so you kind of like, you have to have something in you that will just help you to wake up the next day and just like keep working on.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. And to be honest, I really support you on that side, like about the mix. Like when doing the angel investment, I 100% agree. It should be. I think that's actually the perfect scenario when it's a mix, when you invest in like really early stage individuals and at the same time the profile. I think like personal profile. I think these two are actually, it's a really good match. So I think I really
Let's see.
Yeah. No, but
I'm waiting for the payday.
No, of course, but I think that's a good strategy, to be honest. The next one I have is about the general advice you have. You already mentioned, but you have a lot of VCs and investors under one roof during demo days. Was this one advice that you would give to founders for the fundraising? There is this one thing that a lot of them they do as a mistake, but maybe you would give an advice to avoid this, or maybe to improve something. Just some general advice that you would give.
Don't fundraise.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
I think one of the common things I see with majority of the founders in our community.
Yeah.
That they're, because again, just to clarify, the founders in our community mostly kind of like at the early stages, like pre-seed, seed. We have like a few at Series A, but not that many.
Okay.
So these are by default most of the people who are doing this maybe for the first time.
Yep.
So not that much experience, so they're still learning. And I often see when founders are fundraising for businesses where they don't even understand why they need the money for. And they also haven't built anything.
Okay.
They just like out of having this kind of, I mean, like they think that they built something. Yeah. They think that they created some kind of traction, but you listen to this and you'll be like, are you honestly expecting for VCs to give you money? It's also where the market is right now with venture capital in Europe in general. Yeah, there is no such a thing as pre-seed. The term exists, but what they're expecting from you at this stage, you kind of like need to prove quite a bit. In the US, it's a bit different. In the UK, kind of like it is what it is. And that's why it's just painful to see founders who don't get it and they still think that they would be able to raise an investment
from someone
again, just because they haven't built anything, haven't validated anything, just have an idea. They might create like something. They haven't sold anything, but they're still trying. And they kind of like, one of the biggest problems that this creates, it just creates a lot of noise. It creates a lot of noise for investors specifically. And this is why when there are some founders who should be getting an investment, who actually have this, they sometimes just get lost with
lost in the crowd.
And this is kind of like, it just sucks to see this stuff. Another thing that I see with founders and kind of like in terms of advice. So first advice, don't raise. Try to like build a business actually generates like some revenue. And then raise when you actually know what to do with this money, and when you know that, I don't know, like invest in X would give you Y, you would at least have some kind of validation. Obviously, like it doesn't apply to every single business. There are some businesses that do require investment to actually build something, but majority of the stuff we see, this kind of like another mobile app, which
another SaaS.
Exactly, another SaaS platform. You can bloody build this and try it yourself. So another advice would be to bloody pay attention to things, because every single investor has their investment thesis on their website. They always talk about in the companies they invest in. And we're talking about VC investors, we're talking about angel investors, every single person. on my LinkedIn profile, one of the first sentences I have, I do not currently invest.
I saw that, yeah.
And the only reason why I put this because I get bombarded with like emails and messages of founders who like faking to make this message kind of like personal.
I get it.
And you can see this right away. It's like written by AI. Like all it does is just creates a bad reputation. Like I just go and first of all, I ignore these messages. I don't even open because again, like I don't care. Like if you actually read my profile, you wouldn't even message me. That's it. Or if people connect with me and they message me after selling me something like company, I literally go and I just disconnect with them right away. And just because again, like someone who might be listening this might think this like, like, oh, this is just so rude. This is just so rude. Who the hell do you think you are? But it's just so much noise. And this is why, and again, I don't even consider myself kind of like a professional experienced investor. It's like I'm more like opportunistic investor. But people who do this, like full time, they get this 24/7. And sadly, this again, like I feel so bad. Like again, we have some founders in our community who are just amazing and they're building some amazing stuff. But for whatever reason, they just don't get noticed. At least kind of like not yet. And if there were like a little bit less of this noise, I think good businesses would have a bigger chance to actually get funded and potentially create something great.
That's a really, really great. To be honest, these two advice are the ones that I also usually give. Like the one that do the homework on the VC, because in most cases it's not that your product is bad. It's the mismatch with investor. It might be just wrong fit. And the second one is the one about because I quite often like founders, they come to me and they send deck and they just I don't know randomly for advice, for introductions, and their numbers, expectations on the round amount, on the valuations, they're just crazy. They like, so the second one I always say is also like learn the market, like learn how much traction you actually need, how much revenue you need, how much wait lists, how much of the round you can actually call a pre-seed and stuff like that. It's something that they really don't do.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, especially like where we are right now, when I was again like trying my businesses before, the whole thing as kind of like startup community wasn't actually a thing. So I had to learn things kind of like
on the way.
Now there is so much advice. There is so many communities where you can just ask. All you need is just ask. And most of the times you don't even need to pay for this advice. And because like founders just happy to help one another. And this is why it's just, again, it's just like this noise is just pisses me off.
I agree. No, that's a really good point. Perfect. And I think just the last wrap up question before we finalize. So we've had a chat before starting with the podcast about your experience with ayahuasca. Can you, in general, how do you think? Well, in your own experience and in general, how do you think founders should take the weight of their shoulders? In general, like what kind of practices would you say? Because right now, like the mental health of founders is a big thing, obviously. So what's your take on that, in general? Maybe relating to the...
I mean, like ayahuasca, obviously, like it's a very kind of like extreme way to deal with stress. And again, it's kind of like, that's not why people go there. People go there to deal with shit. Stress.
Like but, real problems.
In terms of the whole mental health thing, I don't know, like I kind of get it. I also kind of don't get it. Because I think being an entrepreneur, I don't think it was ever easy for anyone.
Of course.
I don't know, like literally don't like take anyone. Like all the big celebrities, it was never an easy job.
Of course.
You need to be resilient. Of course, you kind of like, you need to try to find balance. You need to try to, again, balance is a very hard word. You can't find the balance. But you need to try to find something that will help you to, distress. Because eventually founders, again, this would potentially leads to them maybe, giving up on this journey. This also leads to issues with their teams, with their decision-making process. But I also kind of like going through this experience myself, I know it's a very difficult subject in terms of there is no specific advice you can give to anyone just because, like, for example, I don't know, like I do meditations sometimes when I feel like really, really stressed. My meditations are bloody weird.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't know, like I can meditate for like 40 minutes, go very, very deep, see my previous lives. It's like very ayahuasca really. But I started experiencing this after ayahuasca.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I know this works for me. Just because I tell someone, like, go and meditate, I don't know, like, like it's just, it might not work. People might not take it seriously. There are like a bunch of things with, I don't know, like different breathing exercises, which again helps you to decrease, you know, like your stress levels.
Yeah.
But I think for anyone to address, like, to actually start dealing with their mental health, like in general, they first need to experience the bad side of mental health, because that's when they probably would start looking into how to address this. Because I honestly don't think you can, if you give tools to people and you keep talking about this, like, oh, mental health, whatever. But if people never experience, they kind of like, I mean, like, why would I be wasting my time with meditation or like looking into my diet or like going to the gym, whatever.
If you don't know what's the problem
kind of like, exactly, I have no problems. Because most of the people go into all of this like wellness journey after they have this kind of like episode, when they had a burnout, when something happened, and only then they start kind of like, you know, like learning. So I like my advice to founders for people who did not experience any issues yet, well done, keep going, let's hope it's never going to happen. But if it does happen, there are a bunch of tools. I'm sure you're going to do some research and you're going to find something that is working for you. So but I think like overall, everyone needs to have a therapist. Yeah. Everyone needs to try ayahuasca. Yeah. Or whatever other substances are there that can kind of like, I don't know, like help you. Though I haven't tried anything from ayahuasca. So, but I also know it's difficult. It's kind of like I was watching this influencer on Instagram. He's talking about like different like marketing techniques, whatever. Yeah. And he was talking about his life as an entrepreneur when he doesn't have any hobbies, where all his like it's kind of like his work. It's kind of like it's his life, and he enjoys it. It's kind of like this is his balance. He doesn't need to have any other balances. And then the other day I was talking to another high net worth individual who exited a few of his startups, and he now has his own family office. And we were just talking about the whole kind of like, he was like, I don't believe in like work-life balance, because for him, he enjoys this work. This is kind of like there is no work-life balance, because it is kind of like work and life at the same time. And this is what I think I'm kind of like on the same page with them. So this is why for me it's difficult to relate to this kind of conversations and the whole kind of like mental health, whatever, because realistically, if this is hard, then it's just maybe not the right thing for you to do, because it's hard. And the one thing I know already, it just doesn't get easier. You just get used to it. And then like other things come up, and then you get used to it as well. And it's just kind of like, if you enjoy it, that's probably worth the journey. If it's not, just go and get your 9-to-5 job, which is also kind of like not a bad option. Exactly. It's like different things work for different people. Yeah, that's a great position, and I 100% share that. I'm on your side with that, because I agree. Like it's sometimes like it never gets easier. Like it will become difficult. It's just like you might like it and still accept that it's difficult, but it will never get easier. So what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. I think that's a great wrap up. Vasily, thank you very much for coming. It was a great chat. Talked about a lot of stuff, and I hope everyone will learn something new from that. I'll put all the links to your social media, to RareFounders, everything in there. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much. I thought we were just starting.